Welcome to lesson number 2, manuals while moving. Today's focus will be on understanding the ground. And the goal for today is to be able to hold a manual and turn both directions while you're moving. We have 4 skills set up today to help you reach this goal. The first skill today is understanding the ground. What do we do when we reach small inclines and declines? And what do we do when we run into rough ground? The first thing you need to pay attention to is how they drain the skate park. So if water will be rushing off the side of the skate park, that whole direction will be downhill. When you hold a manual, you're gonna start moving that way. You have to understand that this makes a massive difference compared to when the ground is really flat. So the adjustment that you're gonna make when you start going downhill is you have to shift your wheels back underneath you a little bit more. So this way. You're gonna have to pull your wheels underneath you to hold the manual. Because if you push them out in front, you're gonna fall back because you're gaining speed every second. The opposite when you're going uphill, you gotta push your wheels out in front of you a little bit more because you'll be slowing down the whole time. So what you can do is find a small incline and hold a manual until you stop. And if you can hold it while you're stopped, then you know how to adjust to the uphill. And then we can do the same thing for downhill. Let's start stopped and let our speed start to build and feel the adjustments we have to make with the back wheel placement. So if you can go from moving to stopped and you go from stopped to moving, you'll gain a really nice understanding for how do you adjust to different slopes. We're gonna have to make the same adjustments when you're looking at rough ground and smooth ground. For smooth ground, obviously you'll be going faster and you won't have to push your wheels out in front of you as much. On rough ground, it makes sense to push your wheels out a little bit further because you'll be slowing down the whole time. You notice right after the ground changed to a smoother, faster ground, that was too far in front and ended up falling backwards. So you have to be really predictive and understand that this placement of your back wheels underneath you is constantly going to be changing based on your speed and based on the ground. So go to different parts of the skate park, manual uphill and downhill, or go to the street and try manuals there. Notice some places will be easier for you and some places will be harder for you. For skill number 2, we're gonna turn in our manuals while moving. So the first thing I want you to do is get a little bit of speed, hold the manual, and turn backside. And try and hold the manual on the way out. The next thing we'll do is hold a manual and turn front side. With our goal today being turn backside and front side while holding one manual, there are some changes we're gonna have to make. The first thing that I want you to notice, if I leave my upper body still, and I turn the board by pushing my front foot, my upper body will start to follow my front foot forever. Manuals are a great case of an object in motion tends to stay in motion. Since your front trucks are in the air, your upper body will follow that direction forever. And there's really nothing to push off of, and there's no way to adjust that. So to prepare for turning both directions while holding one manual, you're gonna have to counter the rotation with your upper body. When you're pushing your front foot out in front of you to turn backside, you can open up your shoulders to counter that rotation, and then you'll be going in a straight line, and then you can do the same thing. You can bring your front foot all the way across and counter with your upper body. Then you're going in a straight line. And once you get this motion down, it becomes pretty intuitive. Turning front side tends to be easier for most people because all you have to do is face your body the direction that you're going, and then you start turning front side. The hard part is turning one direction and then turning the other. Let's focus on an object in motion tends to stay in motion, simply because it's my favorite part of skateboarding, so I want to talk about it. I want you to pay attention to my upper body for the 10 seconds after I turn. If I manual, and then I turn my board backside, you'll notice my upper body starts to follow, and it's just not gonna stop. And now there's no real way for me to turn my upper body back front side once I start going this way. One of the benefits of being able to hold a manual is you can see how a movement will affect your balance over a long period of time. So be predictive and counter your board's rotation with your body's rotation, and that'll stop that chain reaction from happening. You'll be able to turn both directions. For skill number 3, we're gonna do spacewalks while moving. This is different than turning because we're gonna do smaller motions, so we won't really have these big shoulder movements where we're dealing with those same issues that an object in motion tends to stay in motion. To do a spacewalk with forward speed, you're gonna have to feel your back foot roll on the tail a little bit. So you're gonna feel a little backside and frontside turn, much like a snake, which you're familiar with from early on in phase 1. And as you feel that rolling motion, you're just gonna swing your front foot a little forward and backwards. You'll feel this reverberate up through your whole body. So make sure you're loose and you let that energy flow through you, and you keep your eyes where you're trying to go. It shouldn't change too much of your balance. So if you can hold a manual, you should be able to do that. But if you're having trouble, make sure you figure out what exactly you're having trouble with. If you're going, oh, whenever I turn, I scrape my tail. Slow down. Let's pay attention to that. That means your frontside turn is really leaning back. So fix your frontside turn, stay over it, and just make it frontside and backside without leaning forward or leaning back. Manuals tell us everything we need to know about our balance on a skateboard. So, okay, I want to turn backside and I end up putting my front wheels down and I'm turning backside on the way out. Okay, that means we're leaning forward over our front foot and forward over our toes. Okay, that means you think backside is out here instead of here. Don't just be like, I can't do it and every bail is random. Really pay attention to the type of bail that you're having and understand that that might be a reason to adjust your logic on turning that direction. Drill number 4 is doing partial squats while manualing. Similar to what we did in lesson number 1, we're just gonna do this while moving. So hold a manual, straighten your back leg, and then let that knee relax, let it bend a bit more, and then straighten it again. Going from a straight leg to a bent leg, back to straight, counts as 1. I want you to do this 5 times. Honestly, what I want you to understand is that bailing manuals are not random. They just show you your tendencies. So if you go from a straight leg and you bend your knee and you hit your front wheels every time, instead of just saying, I can't do this, learn how to shift your board forward as you bend your knee, okay? Straight leg, I bend it and I can push my back foot under me and then I can straighten it out again. You should be able to balance through these movements and it will show you how balance really works. All too often I hear skaters say that I can't do manuals, but all you have to do is pay attention to which bail you're having and then fix it. Isolate the variables by not moving too much. Right? If you're in a manual and your whole body is shaking and you're making 20 different bails, you know, your bails per minute is like 600, yeah, you're not gonna be able to read what's going on. Move slow, try to find one bail that repeats itself, and then make an adjustment to try to fix that. If you can squat and unsquat a manual while moving 5 times, you're in really good shape. And if this clicks for you, try to just take the squat deeper and deeper. Because in reality, you should be able to go all the way down and all the way back up. Use these 4 skills to be able to turn backside and frontside while holding one manual.